know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K24. Make sure you get your copy through the link in the description. It's myself, Mo Mootsie, alongside him, as always, the three-time NBA champion, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, it's a Friday. It's the end of the week. You know what that means, right?
Wait a minute. You got a question.
I don't have no questions, but the people have got plenty.
And we got to give the people what they want.
Absolutely. You know, every Friday here on the Hoop Genius podcast, we answer the questions submitted by our Discord community. If you're not a member yet, it's free to sign up. You just join through the link in the description of this show. We have great basketball conversations in there at all hours of the day, and you can submit your questions for the show. So we're going to dive into them. And I'm pretty convinced that the first question from Mojo Jojo is
whoa, say that again. Say that again.
Mojo Jojo.
Shout out to the name. I like that.
The villain from the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
Well, I'm convinced that Mojo over here is trolling because they asked, will Luka win with the Mavs? If so, what do they need to push for a chip?
Oh, yeah.
And the Discord community knows already. Well, Andy Williams said if they play the Utah Jazz every night, they'll win a chip because they put a beat down on them this week.
Woo! Did you see that last night, Mo?
Luka with his triple-double in the first half with 25 points. Crazy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, that was.
And then,
yes,
Big Con. Shout out to Big Con. He says,
oh,
he said, I'm not a gambling man, but I would bet my house on the first thing BJ says. They know you too well now, B.
Yes,
he also says, on that note, in an age of positionless basketball, why should Luka pick one position to guard? Shouldn't the person he's guarding depend on the matchup? For example, say he's going to guard players you'd class as point guards, then guarding like someone like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or De'Aaron Fox would be different to guarding CP0. CP0 is Chris Paul with his 0 rings, just in case you needed the context.
I didn't know that.
That's what the people call him, CP0.
Well, I will say this. Those are excellent questions. However, Big Con, right? Is it Big Con?
Yeah, Big Con. Yeah.
Oh, man, I love that. Big Con. And the other is Mojo.
Joe.
Yeah, Mojo. Okay. Excellent questions. And that provided a smile on my face. However, I think the latter part of that question is interesting because of the following. Just like you develop an offensive identity, you also develop a defensive identity. And your defensive identity is very important because that allows you to have, that's the core of your group, especially when you make a championship run. Because the core of a group of any championship team is we have to be able to stop the opposing team in critical moments during the course of a game, right? There's only one area that you can actually turn up the game, and that's on the defensive end. Some nights you just can't make shots for whatever reason. Some nights, the ball is not going in. Some nights you turn it over, whatever the case may be. Some nights, Mo, the other team might just play better than you. But on the defensive end, Mo, you can figure out how to take something away. And you really you take on the identity of your mindset, but more importantly, of how you're going to defend. So in an age of positionless basketball, I would love to think that some nights we can just put such and such on the point guard and such. But Mo, you develop habits. Just like you develop bad habits, you develop good habits.
You do, but like when the Warriors were in their prime run with Steph and Klay Thompson would always guard the better player of the backcourt of the other team, right? And that wasn't always the point guard. Do you know what I mean? So, say they're playing against a team that had a great point guard, Klay would guard him. But on games where they're playing a team with a great shooting guard, Klay would guard him. So Steph Curry then goes between guarding ones and twos.
Okay. So excellent point. So let's look at that. When you're playing in today's game, you've heard me say this 1,000 times, but let's say it again. Today's lead guards are actually scoring guards. It used to be your lead guard was a facilitator, passer, set up the offense, do those things. Now the lead guards today are scoring guards disguised as point guards, if that's what you want to call it, or whatever it is. So when you look at the way the game is played today, everyone is playing downhill, regardless of position. You just didn't see guards like Steph Curry and Damian Lillard and Kyrie Irving who were looking to score primarily and then pass the ball. So what the Warriors have decided to do is their best defensive player at that particular time would always take the best offensive player on the perimeter, regardless of position. The reason being, Mo, is because you want to stop the thrust of the ball, right? You want to stop the thrust. So is James Harden really a point guard or is he a two guard? Is Damian Lillard
system,
really
apparently?
Yes. Is Damian Lillard a point guard or two guard? Kyrie, you know what I mean? Like, it's positionless because the lines, like Halliburton, like Mo, you didn't see point guards scoring like Halliburton is doing right now. You just didn't see that, okay? Because those guys were passing and facilitating and organizing and doing all those things. Now, this guy just comes down and shoots a three. De'Aaron Fox, Ja Morant. So the list goes on and on and on. So I understand here for your point, but you have to stop. The key to having a good defensive team is your point of attack. You have to stop the opposing team from playing downhill, regardless of position. Okay? And the way the game is played today, Mo, Jalen Brunson, I don't care who guards him, you got to stop that point of attack. When Ja Morant gets back, you got to stop that point of attack. So in today's game, when you play LeBron James, he is probably one of the best examples. He started out as I don't know, 3. If you want to say he's a small forward, is that the position? But Mo, we all know who the primary ball handler is.
Well, it's like in the finals when you guys played the Lakers and Scottie Pippen ends up guarding Magic Johnson, right? So
you have to, yes, you have to. So Scottie Pippen was a small forward for us, but he was the one that was playing downhill. Okay, for the most part. And then we had another guy who could score anyway, but Scottie was the one for us. And then we provided the spacing and then we would play out of it. So that is a great question, but Klay Thompson was unique. You know, everyone's talking about Klay, and I've been wanting to say this about Klay. Having a little bit, you know, I could shoot a little bit, and I've been with a lot of shooters. You know, when you're shooting, I had a good friend of mine, Trent Tucker, who was a phenomenal shooter. Okay, I played with some incredible shooters. Trent Tucker, you know, John Paxson, you know, Steve Kerr, Craig Hodges. These guys were incredible. You know, they're all phenomenal shooters. And I remember Trent Tucker, you know, we all go through stretches. Everyone will go through a stretch. You know, I was friends with Reggie Miller and Chris Mullin and all these guys. And Trent Tucker said something to me I never forgot. He said, when you aren't making your shot, you're just going through a period of adjustments because shooters shoot. Like,
valid, yeah.
Shooters shoot. That's what you do. And I never forgot that. And as I was watching Klay, I was like, okay, he's just going through a period of adjustment. And the only thing, if I were to say something to Klay, would be the following. Just focus on your defense now. Because what we are talking about today is what made Klay special. That's why he is special.
It's Klay tough after the Achilles and the ACL.
It is tough. It is tough. But the last thing to come, and I said this when he got injured, right? Having multiple knee surgeries myself, multiple. The last thing that comes back when you have a major surgery is your reaction time on the defensive end. Klay Thompson was arguably the best, maybe, or one of the best two-way players at that position, provided his importance on the offensive end. I mean, him and Steph during that run, and they're still on their run. It was just phenomenal. But what you admired about Klay was the defensive effort that he gave, regardless of who he was guarding. And that to me is what made him special. So yes, all right, you can't make it. You're in a period of adjustment right now. However, defensively, his impact on the game, Mo, was profound.
Mm-hmm.
Mo wasn't just like, well, he had like 30 points or something. His defensive impact is what allowed them, because their point of attack, regardless who he had to guard, he was a very impactful player. So I would love to see him get back to that point. Now, whether or not he can, hey, your body will only allow you to do what it's what's capable of doing. But that to me is when I think of Klay Thompson, the first thing that comes to mind to me is how selfless he was on the defensive end. I mean, Mo, because that required a lot of energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that to me is what I'm looking to see from him, is defensively, because he impacted the game for them. Mo, he was their point of attack. How many two guards understood how to impact the game on the defensive end every night, regardless of whether this guy was just a point guard or he would guard LeBron James, he guard Dwayne Wade, he guard everybody. So I just think that's what made him a special player. And that would be the one thing that I would remind him of why he is a Hall of Fame player, is because of what he could do on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Harry Bridge wants to know, who do you think will be the next players to take potential off their name? By the way, this is how you know the people really mess with you, because these are just like your catchphrases coming out.
Yeah.
Take potential off their name.
Oh, is it
that's first-time All-Stars or All-NBA? Well, we'll start with All-Stars, because All-NBA, we've still got a while to go, okay, right? So let's say first-time All-Stars this year.
Well, I think
Jamal Murray has to be an All-Star. By the way, he put an edit. He said outside of Tyrese Maxey. But we'll talk about Tyrese Maxey in another question just later on. But first-time All-Stars this year, I think Jamal Murray has to.
Well, you would think, but he's missed a lot of games. Though.
Missed a lot of games. He's back, but he's not fully back, right?
Yes. So, well, I mean, I've said this before. Jamal Murray to me is the best player who hasn't been named an All-Star yet. Mm-hmm. Now he's coming back from injuries, so forth. I don't know if he'll play enough games to be named an All-Star, but clearly he is an elite level guard. Clearly, the one who's taken potential off his name without question is Halliburton. He's here. It's no more going to be, could be. He's taking that off of his name. Halliburton now is he is a bona fide star.
He was an All-Star last year.
Yeah.
But do you know one thing that I heard just on this topic? Do you know one thing I heard that was Anthony Edwards, right? And this is why he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. He was talking about being an All-Star last year, and he said, no, I wasn't an All-Star last year. I was only there because someone got injured and I was the injury replacement. That doesn't count. And I was like, most players be celebrating however they get to the All-Star team, and rightfully so, right? But when he said that, I was like, damn, this guy's really the guy. You know, that he doesn't even count that in his head as an All-Star appearance, and he wants to be there in the starting lineup. So Tyrese Halliburton last year for sure, and now this year he's just solidified himself. Anthony Edwards for sure. But first-time All-Stars, Paolo Banchero, I think he had 42 points the other night.
Yeah,
Paolo, do you think he makes the leap to All-Star this year?
Well, based on how they perform, I think he should be named. Yes. If they maintain this, I mean, what are they, second or third or something? If they maintain that, let's just say they're in the top 4 or 5, I think you have to do that. You know, last year I thought Jalen Brunson really just took a leap, right? But clearly now he is, Halliburton, I just think he's taking a leap now to let you know that wasn't a fluke.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I think he's just
Jalen really Brunson, do you think he makes his first All-Star appearance this year?
I think he does, Mo.
Because people were pretty mad he didn't make it last year.
Well, I mean, there's always a player or two who was deserving, right? There's so many players that are deserving, and he was one. Because Mo, I mean, we always knew he was a good player, but Mo, I mean, he was just sensational last year. I mean, that was like arguably a career year. I don't know if you can duplicate that. Maybe he can. Yeah. But I think he based on his body of work, I think he should be there. We talked about Anthony Edwards. Shea. Look, Shea was first team All NBA, so I don't know
He's
if
definitely there.
he's
That ain't a
there.
question. He's an MVP
Right?
race.
Okay,
what about
else.
Desmond Bane? Because he's obviously been balling without Ja Morant. Now, when Ja Morant comes back, do you think he'll be able to maintain how he's playing and make an all-star team?
That's a great call. Desmond Bane, Mo. He had 49 versus my Pistons last night, and I felt everyone.
See, this is why I didn't want to call you last night.
Yeah.
I looked at the Pistons schedule, and what was the last thing I said to you before the game? I said, if they don't win tonight, I don't know if they're going to win till 2024.
Well, Desmond Bane, okay. Actually, I want to go back. Jaren Jackson Jr., excuse me, a year ago, I thought he took that step. He's here now.
Defensive player of the year.
Player of the year. Yeah. So he's here now. Desmond Bane now. Now you're looking and saying, when Ja Morant gets back, what could be? You follow? I mean, Mo, those two now, if when Ja gets back and Desmond Bane, you're saying that's a heck of a backcourt. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They've put themselves as a combination now.
Who you gonna guard?
You go take this work. Okay. So Desmond Bane, as we're talking, might be the next guy. I mean, Mo, he's been carrying this ship, Mo, and just keeping them quietly, 6-7 wins or something they have. Ja gets back, you win 8 out of 10, and all of a sudden, Mo, you're back in the game.
Yep.
So
do you think he's going to be an all-star, though? Is the question.
Hey, Mo, he could be. Mo, when Ja gets back and they start, let's just say they play 70%. They win 7 out of 10 until All-Star break. I think you have to look at Desmond Bane as the catalyst for keeping this team together. I mean, Mo, you take your best player out for 25 games and you're still in the hunt. Someone deserves that credit. Their coaching staff, the team they put together.
The presence of Marcus Smart.
Marcus Smart just being in the build. That's pretty funny.
Well, you saw when he was going off at them on the bench, and he was telling them how embarrassing it is when they were losing. Like, come on, man, you need that in the team.
I mean, Mo. Desmond Bane this year would be the centerpiece of if they get to the playoffs. It's because of Desmond Bane. I mean, leading the charts. Clearly, there's other people that are involved in this, but you have to give him a large majority of that credit. So
okay,
I've
got two more names.
Might be the guy.
I got two more names. Number one, Mikal Bridges in Brooklyn.
Well, I mean,
I thought he got his love. 26 points a game.
I thought defensively, he became like an all defensive player in Phoenix. I thought that's when he arrived.
But now he's added the offense to it. He's putting up over 20 points almost every night.
Well, the thing that always I admired about him was when guys would go down with injuries, whether it was Devin Booker would miss some games, CP3 would miss some games, he would always step into that and plug and play.
Mm-hmm.
He would always step in. And then when those guys would come back, he would revert back and concentrate on his defense. So I always respected him as an offensive player. I think now it's just required of him. And you would love to coach a kid like that because he understands the game, right? Mm-hmm. I think, some players where they need their offense to kind of get themselves going. Well, he's figured out I can play defense every night. Yeah,
he could. Around.
And then if you need me on the offensive end, I can do that too. So I respect that about him.
I think he could sneak in as a reserve on the All-Star team.
Do I think he's deserving, Mo? Yes. Yeah, he's deserving.
The final name I have for you to make their first All-Star appearance is a rookie, and that'd be Victor Wembanyama. Because you got to remember, the fans vote. He could have the entire nation of France voting for him. What's the population of France?
I think they've lost like 12 in a row or something, Mo.
They've lost crazy amount of games, but there's 67 million people in France. If half of them vote, he gets the most votes out of everyone.
I agree with that. Now, here's a player that I by personal pick, right, is the kid Jalen Williams
in OKC.
In OKC
to be an all-star.
No, not to be an all-star this year. But he is a guy talking about taking potential off his name. Now,
okay, well, let me get to the next question because this ties in
Okay.
well. Okay. AD Cristiano. Oh, no, sorry. Did I pronounce that wrong? AD Cristino says, which other players in the league do you think are competing with Halliburton and Tyrese Maxey for the most improved player award at the moment? Now, obviously, on this show, we've spoken about Maxey a whole bunch. We've spoken about Tyrese Halliburton a lot. So I think that leads into what you're saying with Jalen Williams, right?
Well, yeah, Jalen Williams is a player I think I think he could take another step. I think he has the potential to be like an all-star caliber player. I've been watching him. I'm going, he could be a very fascinating player.
Okay? And then when Josh Giddey gets to jail, then he's going to have even more of the ball.
Oh, stop it, Mo. Stop it. I think he is a fascinating player. The player, what was the question again? The player that
most improved players. I think a name that has to be in the mix. My guy Alperen Sengun, who I've been telling BJ about for about 5 years now.
Yeah, I think he's there.
I don't even know if he's improved that much or if he's just finally been given the opportunity to show what he can do.
Well, I love players who play winning basketball. You love players who put up numbers.
Where did that come from? My favorite player, BJ, my favorite player is Marcus Smart. If I love numbers, that would not be my favorite player.
Well,
that's impacting winning. So don't bring that to me.
Okay, all right. I think this kid Shingun. Am I pronouncing his name? Sengun.
Yes,
he is playing excellent this year. However, I think Halliburton, hands down, is the most improved player this year.
Oh yeah. But we're saying who else is in that conversation, right?
Yeah, I think he's
for the record, I think Maxey is the most improved because Halliburton, we knew he could do this last year. And like the leap isn't that surprising to me from watching him for a year.
This is what I didn't know, but maybe you knew it. I didn't know that he could do this as the number one guy.
I've been watching him for a while.
I did. Now I didn't know, and Maxey's playing with another all-star. Okay, it's not like you're coming into your initial report is let's stop. Maxey.
Yeah.
You got to stop.
Yeah.
And that to me, and that's a big difference. Okay, and when you're playing as a primary ball handler, so that means he has some responsibility to distribute the ball. I mean, that's the one thing I thought he was going to excel at the next level. I thought, he could pass, he could run a team. I saw that. What I didn't see was the 3-point shooting.
In the weird form that Halliburton has when he shoots that.
Okay. It's a little awkward, but
it's money, though.
Whatever works. I didn't see, he's got a little wiggle to his game. And Bo, I mean, he's had the size. I already knew he had the size. And he's put this all together now where he's playing Mo free and easy right now. like Mo. And it's not like you don't know he's coming to the game. And he's doing this as the number one guy. It's not like he's playing
even in games where he had a bad first half, I think, the other night, and then the second half he absolutely went crazy. Or there was the game, I can't remember who was the opponent, but he didn't score in the fourth quarter because they were double teaming him, but he made the right read every single time. And I think it was like a comeback win. So let me ask you this. Piers McGlinchey says, which player has surprised you the most so far this season and who's been the biggest underperformer? Is Halliburton for you then the most surprising player in a positive way?
Well, Halliburton, again, I love it when players just, because when you draft a player, you're drafting him on what you think he's going to become. Right? You're basically looking and saying, I think this guy can be X, Y, and Z. And I love it when players exceed expectations. Right? I love that. I mean, that to me is like, it's like a fun exercise. You go, I thought he had a chance to be good, but I didn't think he was going to be this good. Halliburton has done that for me. Like, I was like, man, I kind of missed this. I didn't expect him to shoot the three like this. I didn't think he had wiggle in his game like this. And at least I didn't. The people I spoke with, I didn't hear anyone saying, we think this is the guy that could carry a team as a primary scorer, ball handler, distributor, and put a team on his back. Like, yeah, I liked him. He had good size. I thought he could pass, do some things. I thought he was going to be a really good player. but I didn't have him like this, Mo.
Mm.
Like I didn't have him like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and it's always fun because that's what makes scouting so much fun, because you can't evaluate what's inside of a player.
Yeah.
You know, their heart. Yeah. And this kid, I didn't see this, but maybe you did.
No, for me, the best surprise for me, Scotty Barnes and his 3-point shooting. You know, because he's made a real step up on that. But in terms of the biggest underperformer, I think that has to be Jordan Poole, because we all expected him to go to Washington and be able to just absolutely rain down buckets all night long. And he has been horrific compared to what we expected. Who's been the biggest underperformer for you? Or would you agree with that?
You know, when I watch Jordan Poole, you know, I would say this because it happens to everyone in their career. You're going to be on good teams and you're going to be on bad teams. It's much easier to play with good players.
Oh, yeah. But when I watch him, it's like he'll turn down wide open shots to take some extra dribbles and overcomplicate what he's doing. He's just trying to do too much.
Well, when you play on a team and you play a winning brand of basketball, you know, Mo, that's different than playing on a team where you're struggling every night just to like compete. Okay. And right now, every player will tell you this who plays privately. They may not say it, you know, during the course of their playing career. You know, but when you learn the difference of playing on a good team and a team who's not so good. And what Jordan Poole is learning right now is that there is a difference. When he was open in Golden State, that ball found him. Right? It's one thing I know about Coach Kerr. Coach Kerr will demand that you pass that ball, right? I mean, he that's one of his guiding principles, to make sure that they get a certain number of passes or something during the course of a game. Well, I can assure you, watching the Washington Wizards, I haven't watched them a lot, but passing is not right now one of the things. I'm sure the coaching staff there are, you know, encouraging these guys, but right now they're learning how to become a good team. So I didn't expect Jordan Poole to suddenly go there and be able to carry team. I didn't. No, that wasn't. Now, did he have glimpses? Did he show you like glimpses where he would come in and score off the bench and you do things? Yeah. I mean, but that was his role. But he was stepping into Klay Thompson's role. I mean, Mo, that's pretty good. That's a good, like, Klay Thompson goes out and they're saying, hey, we need you to score 20 a night. I mean, Mo, that's a pretty good role to step into. Okay. Now he has to go there and carry responsibility. And we talked about it, I don't know, yesterday or the day before. It's easier, Mo, to come off the bench than to play as a starter. So I think he's going through his learning curve of what it means to be a starter in this league. That's why you have to appreciate Steph Curry, because Steph Curry has taken on this responsibility as the primary player on his team every single night. Mo, he gets no argument from me or however he does it. He's figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
The player for me, who's probably, and I'm not disappointed, right? I'm not disappointed, but the player for me, Mo, who I'm waiting for, and it's a lot of this has to do with his, you know, he's just had injuries, right? And I'm saying this because I really want this player. I even picked him to win the play-in. Is Zion.
You think he's been an underperformer?
Mo, when I say underperformer, I'm saying this.
Because I picked him for MVP.
No, Mo, I'm saying this. Sometimes, Mo, you just have things that are out of your control.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to see this young man healthy and playing. Okay, Mo?
Because when he plays, no one can stop it.
But stop it, okay? And what I'm saying, Mo, is not that he's when he plays, Mo, that kid is 25 and something every time he plays. I don't know what his stats are, but he seems like he gets 25 points every night, no matter what. Okay? He shoots an incredible high percentage, right? I remember watching one game last year or something, and they said, this guy's putting up Shaq numbers.
Yep. Well, he had a game this year where he didn't miss a shot. Like,
Okay.
come on. So
Yeah,
who's the biggest underperformer then? Though? Because
well, if you the biggest I just want to see him have the biggest underperformer is the Clippers. I'm going to say the Clippers team.
just in general, James Harden and the Clippers.
The Clippers, what? The Clippers are underperforming. Mo, think about this. They're not even in the play-in.
And they have what, the number one salary bill or number two? I don't know if it's
Mo,
them or the Warriors.
There's no secret what their secret is. We're trying to win a championship and you're not even getting to the play. Now, there's a lot of basketball left. However, the Clippers right now, it's not. I mean, these guys have been seriously injured. Like, Mo, when you get injured, you're injured. And that's my whole thing with Zion. I think this is a selfish thing. I just want to see this young man play. Mo,
we just need some sort of cure for injury.
Yes. I just want to see him play. I mean, because when he plays, Mo, he's like one of those things you're saying, I've never seen a guy play like this. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But the Clippers team is probably the biggest disappointment thus far in the NBA season.
Well, the last question here from 11CJR says, is there a trade market for Zach LaVine? Because there doesn't seem to be any rumors about a potential trade going down. And here's the thing with that. If you listen to our episode from a few weeks ago with Mr. Scott Perry, you would know why this is the case, because he kindly explained, and a lot of people were mad online about the fact he said Zach LaVine isn't impacting winning at that level because he doesn't really ever make it to the playoffs. And he has a huge salary that goes along with him. So I'm not surprised that there aren't a ton of potential trade rumors about Zach LaVine, because to acquire him, you either have to give up almost all your depth or a superstar making the same amount of money for a player with very little playoff experience. And if you're a contending team trading for a max player, you would want a guy who's got experience in the playoffs, not is going to have his first taste of the conference finals this season after you trade it for his 40 million plus salary. So that would be that. And we're going to have Mr. Scott Perry back on the show on Monday. So we can talk some more about trades and what goes down.
Listen, look, it's always fun to talk about trades on the outside, right? It's always fun. You're just like, hey, man, trade this guy, get this guy. Hey, however, okay, Mo, once you become, this GM, you're actually going to have to, GM. When you come in, then all of a sudden people are going to say, well, Mo, how come you didn't do X, Y, and Z? Because Mo's going to have to balance the books. Mo's going to have to make financial decisions in what player he's going to put out or trade and what player he's going to receive back in the trade. So when you start looking at players, we're talking about Zach LaVine. Well, that's a big responsibility. Okay. It's a big, right.
If you trade for a player of that salary, you are expected to win a championship.
Mo, that just comes with the territory. This isn't what, listen, let's say it here. Zach LaVine is a terrific basketball player.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a fact.
There's no question about that. My philosophy on this is, right, the Supermax salary slots, in my opinion, if I'm a GM, I only want, maybe there's only 5 guys in the league that I would want taking up that much salary, because there's a salary cap. So you have to balance the rest of the roster with it. So if it's not Giannis or Jokic or LeBron or Steph Curry type players who are tier 1A superstars, I wouldn't want a player in the tier below to be making the same money as that top tier superstar, because if you've got a player who's not in that same caliber, you've got to have superior depth. But having a player like this, unless you're going to pay the maddest luxury tax bill, doesn't make sense to me, in my humble opinion. And that's not a knock on Zach LaVine, but there is a lot of guys in the league who make supermax money who I don't necessarily think, with that money being made, are going to lead you to an NBA championship, right?
Okay. Yes. And from one perspective, I agree with everything you're saying. However, Mo, when you are building a team, as you and I, we do, right? You and I, that's what we do. We do all day. Mo calls me, I call Mo, we do this, we go. We've rebuilt every team in the league 10 times over. Okay. However, when you have these situations, how you build a team, Mo, when something works, they may not value that player over there, but he is incredibly valued here. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. No doubt.
Just as an example, Draymond Green may not be valued.
Yeah.
For another
any other team in the NBA because he doesn't. But what he
does for the Warriors, there's incredible value. Okay. And that to me is all that matters. Once you find something that works for you, you value that. That's called culture.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Miami Heat is showing you year in and year out. You may not value whatever that player does and say, well, he can't do that here. He can't do it. Well, maybe he can't. And that doesn't make he's a bad player. That's why you make trades, because another man's problem may be another person's opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why you make these trades in the first place. Just because it
like Mikal Bridges we talked about earlier, he was a role player on offense in Phoenix, got to Brooklyn, and now he's putting up 26 points a game. Lauri Markkanen, when he got traded to the Utah Jazz, no one expected him to become an all-star and be able to do what he does. But in this specific case of Zach LaVine, I don't think there is a team, or maybe people will say Miami, but I don't think there's a team where they're going to trade for him and he's going to become an all-NBA defender. He's going to change his game, right? He's an elite scorer, and that's what he does.
My late grandmother, rest in peace, she would always say, there's a lid for every pot.
I love that wisdom.
She would always say that. So off the top, Bo, I don't know. Like, who knows? But however, there is a place. There is a place for him. Why? Because Mo, he is an exceptional athlete who happens to have a unique skill set. He can shoot that basketball, Mo.
Damn right.
Okay. Now, do we see him in the current role on another team as the head guy or the lead guy? Okay, that's debatable. We can debate that. We can say whatever. However, Mo, put in the right place, in the right scenario, in the right system that fits him, Mo, that's a pretty good player. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. That's a pretty, okay? So the wisdom is there's a lid for this. You know what I mean? There's a lid.
Yeah, there's a situation for everyone.
There's a lid
right?
for every pot. Okay. And we just have to find it. You know, I don't know what the right situation or the right scenario it is for him, but there is a place for him because I know one thing. And all of the things we can say, whether you're a Zach LaVine fan or you're not, that man is a talent. And
Absolutely.
I know talent.
Absolutely.
That man is a talent, and that man is and talent wins in this league. So in saying all of these things, because everyone has made great points about who he is and who he isn't. But however, here, we go by the one principle, real name, no gimmicks. No gimmicks here. No gimmicks. The little that I know about him, he's a terrific kid.
Great guy.
He can score
with him.
Yes.
We had a great conversation. Fantastic.
You know what I mean? I'm not pretending like, you said I haven't spoken to him recently here, but the little I do know about him, great kid, terrific player, and all those things. But with this, now comes the responsibility. And that's why his name. And as my vet told me, Bill Cartwright, when your name is not mentioned in the trades, that probably means you're going to be out of the league. And right now, his name keeps coming up because everyone knows, but I think it's going to take a unique situation for him to get to that's going to be able to say, this is who he is.
It's just tough with the like if he was making 10 million less, I bet someone would have traded him already. It's just money, right? Like take 10 million off his salary, take 5 million off his salary, someone probably pulls the trigger on that deal.
But Mo, this
like
is
you said,
probably going to happen. This is probably what's going to happen. It's probably going to take a year or two for the salary cap to go up so that they can absorb the move.
Or a player saying that he wants to leave their team and he's not going to stay in free agency, and then they'll get Zach LaVine in so that he can stay with them. Well, there's all these situations. But that has been another episode answering the amazing questions from our amazing Discord community. If you want to join and have your question answered, feel free to hit the link in the description. Come and join the family. Get involved in the conversations. We appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the finals of the in-season tournament. We'll be back with Parking Lot Perry on Monday. BJ, you ready for the first ever in-season champion?
You know, it seems to be a big deal. I don't know how to feel about it, but I will be watching.
Do you think they're gonna raise a banner in the arenas? Like,
well, Mo, I don't know.
They're getting rings. They're giving an MVP of the tournament. Like, I don't know.
Okay, Mo, can I say something? Okay, I want to say something about the rings. I saw them give rings for Summer League.
Yep. BJ, I got a championship ring. The NBA 2K 25 years. I got a championship. Wait.
Yeah.
Wait. I didn't even show you it, right? I'll show you on the next episode. I have a championship ring now.
Yes. So I don't know what to think about all this, Mo. You know what? I mean, Mo, this is what.
Shout out to NBA 2K. Get your copy in the
shout out to everybody that's doing it. But I saw them have rings for Summer League.
Yep.
And I don't know what to think anymore, Mo. I'm just going with this. But what I do know, Mo, is in June every year, you and I will get a chance to say this was the best team in the NBA.
Thanks.
Okay. And all of the other stuff that we go through, hey, we got to go through it. Whoever's the in-season tournament, I don't know what that means. Do you get like bonus points? I don't know what
you
that
get. 500 grand. That's what you get.
Okay, yeah, okay,
and then you spend it in Vegas that night and go home like nothing happened.
Yeah, yes, okay. So I don't know what all that means. However, this 82 game schedule, Mo, to me means something. It means something to us. You and I do this show every day, and I appreciate you for that. I appreciate our listeners. I appreciate the listeners because they tune in to us every day. And that means something. So thank you for doing that. And we get a chance to talk about the game we love. So that to me, and anyone who has an opportunity to do something they love, Mo, that's just a true blessing.
Biggest blessing. Biggest blessing.
We get a chance to do that. I spend time with you. We talk every day. I mean, my wife was like, you guys do the podcast every day and then you talk all day. Like, what is going on here? So that's what we do. I don't know. That's
you can't beat it. There's nothing better than talking about sports. Come on, man. There's nothing better. There's nothing better.
Yeah. So I'll see you. Right. I'll see you later today. I will
see you in about 20 minutes. My brother, I appreciate you. I'll catch up with you later on. Make sure you guys at home subscribe on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and most importantly, get buckets.